There are nights when nothing happens, and then there are nights when you realize someone was waiting for you. I've had 3 nights like that in my life, and every single time I barely made it out alive. I was working DoorDash that night. It was my full-time job, but I was terrible at keeping a schedule. I always pushed starting later and later, sometimes not even beginning until 9 or 10 at night. This was one of those nights. I had already been driving for about 3 hours when an order came in around 1 in the morning. It was a grocery pickup from a nearby gas station. The place was completely empty when I arrived, except for the cashier. When I got back into my car and checked the order, it was just one thing. One large, cheap bottle of wine. That immediately annoyed me. Alcohol deliveries meant I couldn't just drop it off and leave. I'd have to wait, check an ID, and interact with whoever ordered it. I started driving. The address was about 15 minutes away, deep in the woods. Most of the town was forested, so at first it didn't seem strange. But the driveway leading to the house was rough and overgrown, like no one had taken care of it in a long time. Gravel crunched under my tires as I pulled up. The house stood alone. Old, silent, no porch light, no lights in the windows. The only thing lighting it up was my headlights. The woods around me were completely quiet. Every sound I made felt loud, like I was the only living thing out there. I stood by my car and opened the app on my phone, getting ready for the ID check. That's when I noticed a light deep in the trees off to the side. I didn't think much of it at first. I assumed it was a porch light from another house, even though I couldn't see any house at all. The light was faint, barely visible between the trees. I walked up to the porch and knocked. The sound echoed inside the house in a way that felt wrong, like the place was empty. I waited. A full minute passed. Then I heard movement. The door opened. Inside was pitch black. I could barely make out the man standing there. He was tall and thin, his face hidden in shadow. I told him I just needed to check his ID for the alcohol. He nodded. I think, he smiled, but I couldn't really tell. In a slow, gravelly voice, he said he needed a minute to grab his wallet. Then he turned around and walked away. He left the door open. I watched him disappear down a hallway, swallowed by darkness after just a few steps. That's when the uneasiness really hit me. Who lives in a house this dark? No lamps, no hallway lights, nothing. I glanced back toward my car. It sat alone in the driveway, with its headlights shining, and behind it was nothing but endless trees. Then I looked back toward the woods beside the driveway. The light was still there, but now it was closer. I stared at it for a few seconds and realized it wasn't stationary. It was moving slightly, swaying, like someone standing still while holding a flashlight pointed directly at me. The light couldn't have been more than 50 feet away. A chill ran through my body. That's when I heard something from inside the house. Soft creaking, floorboards shifting, slow footsteps, moving closer to the doorway. I didn't wait to see who it was. I jumped off the porch and ran to my car. As I did, the light in the woods moved again, but I didn't look long enough to see how. I got in, slammed the door, and drove away as fast as I could. I didn't stop until I reached the gas station I had picked the order up from. I sat there trying to calm my breathing, telling myself I was overreacting, that it was nothing, but I couldn't shake the feeling. A few days later, I looked up the address, but I couldn't shake the feeling. A few days later, I looked up the address. That house had been abandoned for over 50 years. There weren't supposed to be any houses nearby, and there definitely wasn't supposed to be anyone living there. I don't know what would have happened if I stayed on that porch any longer, but I'm convinced I barely got away with my life. A few years later, in 2019, I went to stay at my older brother's cabin while he was away on a short work trip. He asked me to watch his dog, Cooper. It wasn't really a cabin, just a normal house deep in the woods. The first day was calm, peaceful even. But once the sun went down, everything changed. The woods became unnaturally quiet. No insects, no animals, just silence. That night, while I was watching a movie, I noticed Cooper sitting by the front door, staring at it. He wasn't relaxed. He was stiff, alert, like he was listening to something I couldn't hear. Later that night, he started barking violently at nothing. His hair stood up. His tail was tucked between his legs. Then there was a hollow tapping sound against the house, like someone knocking on a window from the outside. On the third night, I was in the shower when I heard loud thumps against the wall, followed by Cooper barking again. I rushed out and realized the bedroom door was open. The front door was open too. Cooper was gone. I ran outside and chased after him into the woods, calling his name. His barking suddenly stopped. The forest went silent. I froze, terrified to move. After what felt like forever, Cooper came running back toward me, shaking, whimpering, and terrified of whatever was behind him. We ran back inside and I called the police. We stayed in a hotel that night. Someone had been watching the cabin, and if Cooper hadn't chased them away, I don't think I'd be here today. Years later, after a long shift at work, I was driving home late at night on a long, empty rural road. I passed one car pulled off to the sea. I passed one car pulled off to the side of the road. No lights, no people. Then another one, just like it. Minutes later, something appeared in my headlights. I hit it before I could react. My tire went flat. As I stood beside my car, I noticed someone walking toward me from the trees, staying just out of the road. They came close. Too close. Their eyes locked onto mine in a way that made my stomach drop. I drove away on the flat tire. 4 days later, I learned that 2 people had gone missing on that same road that same night. Their cars were the ones I passed. Both had damaged tires. They were never found. Sometimes I think about how close I came to being the third, and I still wonder who put those objects in the road, and who was walking toward me in the dark.